judgment in the urgent application brought by convicted rapist and murderer Thabo Bester Nandipha Magudumana to stop the airing of a Netflix documentary will be handed down tomorrow morning. The two want the airing of the three-part series docu halted, citing a violation of their rights to a fair trial and defamation. The High Court in Pretoria also heard that Magudumana had entered into an agreement with production company Storyscope and was paid for archive photos of her life for the documentary Beauty and the Bester. And helping us to unpack this is legal analyst Mpumelelo Zikalala. Mr. Zikalala, very good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Good afternoon to you, and also good afternoon to your viewers.
Indeed. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, first, considering the level of public interest this case has generated over the last couple of years, on what legal grounds then could Thabo Bester and Nandipha Magudumana seek to block Netflix from airing this documentary? And how strong is that argument, given that they are already widely reported on figures?
Well, they were saying today it's violating our rights. We have a right to human dignity, we have a right to privacy, and all the other rights that have been accrued to us as per the Constitution. If you are going to air this documentary without our consent, or at least allowing us to have the right of reply so that you can deal with any anomalies or things that we think have been distorted, then our rights are going to be violated and you are going to suffer damages, which is why they went to court today on an urgent basis. However, which was a bit limping, and these chances of success are going to be very limited due to the following. If you go to court on an urgent basis, you are saying, I have to protect this particular right, though the rights that have accrued to them, no one is going to dispute that. I have no other alternative remedy. In this case, they can, because all that you can do is sue afterwards if there's any defamation that has taken place. On the balance of probabilities, I'm going to probably win, which at the end of the day, it will depend on what has been aired, whether it's truthful or not. And 90% of the things, or the things that were stated there, the things that were already in the public arena. So there's no way in which there are going to be any things that are going to be there. So if you haven't been able to prove to the court that those elements are not there, then at the end of the day, the court is not going to find in your favor. But we'll wait and see up until tomorrow morning to see whether the court has stated whether it agrees with them, or things that Netflix have ticked all the boxes and the matter is not urgent, or it can be brought later at a later stage. And then all those things in which they were complaining about can be dealt with then.
And having said that, Mpumelelo, I'm quite keen to know how South African courts typically balance, the constitutional right to privacy with the public's right to access such information, especially in cases involving high-profile convicted criminals.
Well, the right to privacy will start and end when it's in the public interest for that information to be shared. So the interest of the media, or the rights of the media to be able to tell the story that is there, is viewed as a very sacrosanct right. Yes, it does seem in certain instances that it seems as if it's above the right of individuals, but at the end of the day, information must be shared and there must be no suppression of such. But what makes this one unique is that all the information which is being broadcasted or which is going to come up in that particular Netflix documentary is information which is already in the public arena. So you can't dispute the fact that a person was arrested. You can't dispute that a person was arrested in another country. Then they were brought back. Then there were bail applications. Then they testified. And then there are negotiations between the two individuals and their photos that have been shared. So all that is in the public arena, you can't run away from that, what basically the court is going to say. We want members of the public to be able to see. There's no suppression which is going to take place. And if you have any issues or any defamation which you are going to suffer, go and deal with it at a later stage, but not as an urgent application.
And I would imagine, so many questions might have been asked why their legal team chose to act so close to the release date. Is this perhaps a genuine legal effort or a strategy to delay and control the narrative?
Well, it's one of the things that may come back to bite them, actually, if you listen to what the respondents were saying and what the courts have stated previously in other matters. Because once you know that there's something which is taking place in February, for example, and in March, take steps then to deal with all other issues that are there. So you have to go to court and say, this is the agency that I'm talking about. If agency has been limited and it is self-created agency in a manner that you've said you haven't done anything and only moving at a late stage, the court is not going to find in your favor. But even if it's so, the nature of the claim or the merits of the matter are so in a stance that it's almost as if you suffer and then later you'll get your reprieve. but you can't anticipate that you are going to suffer when this documentary has not aired. You don't know the type of information which is going to be there. You don't know whether it's going to be public or general information, or it's going to be something which is unique, which can be distorted, or at a later stage you are going to be compensated for. So it's one of those things in which they may have waited up until it was too late to deal with the matter, and they could have done a bit better if they wanted to prevent this whole thing from taking place.
Now, Mpumelelo, as much as we still await the verdict tomorrow morning, and we certainly cannot preempt the outcome thereof, but I want us to look at the possibilities of the ruling. What are the implications for media freedom if the court sides with Thabo Bester and Magudumana? Could this set a dangerous precedent for other convicted criminals to silence journalists and filmmakers alike?
Well, it could set a precedent of saying that before you air something, you need consent from someone, or you need to give them the full scope of what you are going to disclose before it is included or maybe broadcasted, which could have an indirect suppression of information. Because if I choose not to answer your call, it means that you can't go and broadcast that information up until I've given you the go-ahead or the green light. But precedence, when it comes to the manner in which we do things in South Africa, is the other way around. Media freedom is sacrosanct. It cannot be touched. It must be protected at all times. This is what our courts have said. And if you have an issue, as anything has been said against you that has defamed you, there are appropriate procedures or alternative dispute resolution procedures and forums that you can go to. The last being going to court and sue for defamation, and then you'll be able to get your reprieve them. But in terms of suppression and issuing urgent interdicts, the courts have stated a number of times, we are not going to entertain it, especially in this one, because we knew as way back as much that there was something like this which was going to take place.
Yeah, and just picking up on that point, how then do the courts guard against allowing legal action to become a tool for censorship in cases that are clearly in the public interest?
It's basically dismissing the applications when those applications being made, huge cost orders to defer and to teach lessons to others, to say if you go to court, you are going to be punished through the finances. And also giving an opportunity in order to say, if you come to court on an urgent basis, we are going to hear you. This matter was brought on an urgent basis. The court dropped everything and said, I'm going to give you the whole day to make arguments. I'm going to go and draft my judgments the whole of tonight. Then tomorrow morning at 8:30, I'm going to deliver the judgment, which is working at a tremendous speed, considering the role and the activities that are happening within our courts.
All right, Mpumelelo Zikalala, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for sharing your analysis with us.
Thank you very much for hosting me.
Well, that was legal analyst Mpumelelo Zikalala just talking to us about the judgment that will be handed down tomorrow morning.